The night I almost gave up on my grandchildren forever. My name is Margaret Chen, and 3 months ago, I almost deleted every photo of my grandchildren from my phone. I was sitting in my car outside a Target parking lot at 11 p.m., crying so hard I could barely see, ready to accept that I'd lost them forever. This is the story of what led to that moment and what happened after. The text that broke me. It all started with a text message. I'd been trying for months to connect with my 16-year-old granddaughter, Emma, but every attempt seemed to push her further away. The birthday party disaster, the wrong clothes I'd bought her, the restaurants that made her cringe, every conversation that ended with eye rolls and sighs. But I kept trying because she's my granddaughter and I love her. That Tuesday night, I sent her a simple text. "Hi, sweetheart. Just thinking about you. Hope your chemistry test went well today. Love you." Her response came an hour later. "Grandma, please stop texting me so much. It's weird. My friends think it's weird. Can you just give me some space?" I stared at that message for 10 minutes. Space. From her grandmother who loved her. Space from the woman who had rocked her to sleep as a baby, who had cheered at every school play, who would have given anything to spend just one real conversation with her. I was weird. I was too much. I was embarrassing. And for the first time in my 68 years, I felt truly, completely alone. The desperate research. That night, I did something I'd never done before. I Googled, "Why does my granddaughter hate me?" For 3 hours, I read forum posts from other grandparents feeling the same way. Stories about kids who wouldn't look up from their phones, who seemed to live in a completely different world, who treated their grandparents like relics from a museum. One post stopped me cold. Maybe we need to accept that we're from different generations and some gaps just can't be bridged. Number. I refuse to accept that. That's when I found Emma's TikTok account. I'd heard her mention it, but I'd never actually looked. Creating an account took me 45 minutes and 3 different attempts, but finally, I was in. Emma had 1,200 followers. She had videos about books, makeup, little moments from her day. She was funny. She was smart. She was herself in a way I'd never seen. And in the comments, hundreds of strangers were cheering her on, supporting her, understanding her in ways I apparently couldn't. I was looking at my granddaughter's entire world, and I was completely locked out of it. The humiliating attempts. I decided to learn TikTok, not to spy on her, but to understand her. My first video was a disaster. I tried to introduce myself, but accidentally recorded for 8 minutes while I figured out how to work the camera. The whole thing was me muttering, "How does this? Why is it upside down?" 0 views, not even 1. Video 2. I attempted to make my famous chocolate chip cookies while filming. I was so nervous about the camera that I added salt instead of sugar, burned the entire batch, and ended up crying on camera when I realized what I'd done. "I can't even make cookies anymore," I sobbed to my phone. "How am I supposed to understand anything about your world?" 3 views, no comments. Video 3 was going to be my last attempt. I was exhausted, frustrated, and ready to give up. I sat in front of my phone and just talked. "My name is Margaret. I'm 68 years old, and I'm trying to learn TikTok because I'm losing my granddaughter, and I don't know what else to do. My voice cracked. She thinks I'm embarrassing. She thinks I'm weird, and maybe she's right. Maybe I am too old, too out of touch, too irrelevant. I looked straight into the camera. But I love her. And I don't know how to show her that in a way she'll understand. So I'm here, making a fool of myself, hoping that somewhere in this big, confusing internet world, there's a bridge back to the people I love most. I almost deleted it. It was too raw, too pathetic, too honest. But I posted it. The rock bottom. The next morning, that video had 847 views and 23 comments. Real comments from real people. This made me call my grandma. You're not too old. You're brave. Your granddaughter is lucky to have someone who loves her this much. For a moment, I felt hope. Then Emma texted me. Grandma, did you post a video about me on TikTok? My friends are showing it to me, and I'm literally dying of embarrassment. Please take it down. Please. My heart shattered. I'd thought I was showing love. She saw public humiliation. I'd thought I was building a bridge. I'd built a wall. That night, I drove to Target to buy, I don't even remember what. But sitting in that parking lot afterward, reading her text over and over, I realized something horrible. Maybe love wasn't enough. Maybe trying wasn't enough. Maybe some gaps really couldn't be bridged. I opened my Photos app and scrolled through pictures of Emma as a baby, as a little girl, as the young woman she was becoming without me. My finger hovered over delete all. Maybe it was time to let go. The unexpected message. Just as I was about to delete everything, my phone buzzed. A DM on TikTok from someone called Bookish Emma 16. Emma. Grandma, I watched your video again. Really watched it. I'm sorry I asked you to take it down. I was embarrassed, but you were just being honest. That's actually kind of brave. Can we talk? I called her immediately. Emma? Sweetheart? Grandma? Her voice was small. I didn't know you felt that way. I didn't know you thought I don't hate you. I don't know how to talk to you anymore. We're so different. I know we are, honey. But different doesn't have to mean distant. She was quiet for a long moment. That video where you messed up the cookies and started crying, that felt real. More real than all the perfect birthday parties and fancy gifts. I've never seen you mess up before. Oh, sweetheart, I mess up all the time. But you never show it. You always act like you have everything figured out, like you know what's best for everyone. But in that video, you were just human. The slow rebuild. The next week, Emma came over. Not for a forced family visit, but because she wanted to. Show me how TikTok actually works, I said. For 2 hours, she taught me things I never would have figured out alone. But more than that, she talked to me. Really talked. I wasn't embarrassed of you, Grandma. I was embarrassed of how different we are, and I thought that meant something was wrong with me. Like, if my own grandmother doesn't understand me, maybe I'm the problem. Oh, honey, you're not the problem. I am. I've been so busy trying to give you what I thought you needed that I never asked what you actually wanted. We made a video together. Nothing fancy, Just us talking about the gap between generations and how maybe sometimes the gap is what makes the conversation interesting. It got 2,400 views and dozens of comments from other grandparents and grandchildren sharing their own stories. But the comment that mattered most was Emma's. "My grandma is cooler than your grandma. She's 68 and she's braver than most teenagers I know." What actually changed? Over the next 3 months, not 6, not a year, but 3 hard, messy, imperfect months, things slowly got better. My TikTok account grew to 5,200 followers. Not because I went viral, but because people connected with the story of someone trying to bridge a gap that felt impossible. More importantly, Emma started including me in her world. She'd show me videos she liked, explain trends I didn't understand, ask my opinion on things that mattered to her. My grandson Jake started teaching me about his interests. My youngest granddaughter Sophie began asking me to watch her art tutorials, not to judge them, but just to witness her creativity. But the real change wasn't in what I learned about their world. It was in what they learned about mine. The graduation speech. Last month, Emma graduated high school. At her party, she gave a speech that made me cry. "I want to thank someone who taught me that love isn't about being perfect or having all the answers. My grandma Margaret joined TikTok because she thought she was losing me. She made terrible videos, embarrassed herself, and cried on camera. She looked straight at me. But she showed up. In my space, in my world, willing to look foolish and be vulnerable, just to understand me better." Her voice got stronger. "She taught me that the bravest thing you can do is admit you don't know something and ask someone to teach you, even when that someone is your teenage granddaughter who thinks she knows everything." She smiled. "Grandma, you didn't learn TikTok to become like me. You learned it to show me that different generations don't have to be enemies. They can be teachers for each other." The hard truth. Here's what 3 months of learning TikTok actually taught me. Connection isn't about understanding everything about someone else's world. It's about being willing to be vulnerable in front of them. Your grandchildren don't need you to be young or cool or perfect at their technology. They need you to be real. They need you to admit when you're confused, scared, or out of your depth. They need you to show up, even when, especially when, you don't know what you're doing. For grandparents at their breaking point. If you're listening to this from your own Target parking lot, feeling like you've lost your grandchildren forever, I want you to know something. The gap between you and them isn't a wall. It's a bridge waiting to be built. But you have to be willing to walk across it first. You have to be willing to look foolish, to ask questions, to admit you don't understand. You have to be willing to be human instead of perfect. 3 things that actually saved my relationship with Emma. First, I stopped trying to pull her into my world and started stepping into hers, even when it was terrifying. Second, I let her see me fail. Really fail. Mess up cookies, cry on camera, admit I was lost. Third, I asked her to teach me instead of trying to teach her. The beautiful truth. Your grandchildren are not aliens from another planet. They're human beings who happen to speak a language you don't know yet. You can learn that language. Not perfectly. I still call Instagram the picture app sometimes, but enough to have a conversation. And when you do, When you show them that their world matters enough for you to enter it, something beautiful happens. They invite you to stay. At Silver Simplified, we know that love is not about being comfortable. It's about being courageous. 3 months ago, I was ready to delete every photo, accept defeat, and let the gap between generations win. Today, Emma sends me TikToks every morning. Jake asks for my advice on his videos. Sophie wants to collaborate on art projects. Not because I became like them, but because I finally let them see who I really was. Someone who loved them enough to be embarrassed, confused, and completely out of her depth. If this story inspired you to take your own first step across that bridge, remember, it's not about becoming perfect at their world. It's about becoming present in it.